It's 9 a.m. We are going to have a special call meeting of the SCFC board this morning. It is the first day of fall, and before I actually move forward with the agenda, Master Wallace requested and reminded me, offered up an opportunity for a moment of silence for a former Sky King jailer, Virgil Sagerson. Served many years as a jailer and passed away this week. And appreciate Master Wallace offering that up. And I think it's a very good thing to do. If y'all would join me in a moment of silence.
Would appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you all very much. With that said, I would also ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We need to have a motion to appoint Kara Oliver as our court clerk alternate for this special meeting. Motion from Rick Hosteller, second from Rob Jones. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Oliver, would you call the roll?
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
And Culbertson?
Here.
And Judge Covington?
Present. So with that said, let the record reflect that we have a quorum, can't conduct business. I will remind magistrates to use your mic button during these meetings today because we have a lot to discuss and want to make sure it's all on the record. The first item and only item of this special called meeting, as I shared in the email, during an election year, any elected official that is not subject to, I believe it's House Bill 810. David, you correct me if I'm not right there. And Cam correct me. But we must set the salary if we're going to adjust it above any cost of living raise or CPI adjustment. We must set it by the first Monday in May. So that is why we are taking this up for consideration. Make sure we get that task checked off. So we have shared information regarding the coroner's compensation and shared data from Jeff, shared data from 10 different counties, and I would open up the floor for any comment from any magistrate or question from any magistrate. Rick Hostetler.
A couple of comments. I found this pretty unique. Trying to think about it. You know, it's after you sent that email, I kind of started digging around and. And I've actually met with the coroner and just talked to him about what the job looks like. And but what I really struggled with was I really can't find anything to kind of compare this to. You know, it's such a.
Are you speaking of the job being an outlier, so to speak?
Yeah, that would be.
It is a. Yes.
Well, first of all, it's a constitutional office, so yes. It's important. Obviously, we know that. But anyhow, I just trying to figure out a way to kind of compare it. So I've looked around and I saw what Jeff sent us, the different salary ranges, and they are, when you look across the state, they are all over the place. I mean, I've found some counties that are paying less than $8,000, which is, you know, and I think there were small counties and rural counties, but And then when I talked to him about what their duties are, or what his duty is, in our case, our coroner being a he, but what his duties are, and there's quite a bit to it. It's more than just, they picking up a deceased person. When I looked at some of the things, if it's somebody dies from an accident, suicide, homicide, and an undetermined manner of death, he has to be the one to sign it. I don't even, and I wish the coroner maybe, because I've got a couple of questions. I don't think a deputy can sign it in that case. Is that right, or am I?
No, they can sign.
They can. A deputy can.
Yeah, as long as they've had their training and everything.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some training involved, and I saw that in the list of duties.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, that's kind of some of my thoughts and what I was trying to process this request.
David Livingston.
This has been a really, really hot topic among county officials statewide for probably 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
maybe longer. And the issue that when we have discussions on it in Frankfurt, the issue is that when you see one county, you've seen one county. They don't look alike. None of them do. I mean, you look at Boone. Boone pays what?
61,353.
And their population is 144,000. And then you look at some of the other smaller counties where you're talking about maybe 8,000. Well, what typically has always been in the past, not always, but a lot of times, is the coroner either works at the funeral home or owns the funeral home. So there's a correlation there of what pay was versus what the benefit was at the end. And so that's still true today in other counties where that pay that might be lower like that, the coroner may be the only funeral home in town, or be the funeral director, or be the owner, or something like that. So that was always taken into consideration, because if you're coroner and you're one of 2 funeral homes in the county, that kind of puts you at a advantage of where folks go. I asked Human Resources, I'm not going to name names, I asked Human Resources to pull some things for me, because my concern is it is a 40-something% increase that's being suggested. I talked with you when I asked about your calls, and we requested your call volume and all that, and I said I don't have a problem with a salary adjustment, and then we've had other conversations and talking about job duties and things that the coroner and the deputy coroner see, but at the end of the day, so does our fire, so does our EMS. And if you look at our EMTs
And Sheriff's Office.
and Sheriff's Office, correct. If you look at our EMTs and our advanced EMTs and our paramedics, that would put the coroner almost in line or either above what these folks are making. And they're seeing things like this on a daily basis. There are other things that fall into this too. Vehicle. EMTs don't get a county vehicle to take home. That's a 24/7 vehicle that he gets to have on the county's dime. Gas and insurance provided. That's probably a $20,000 a year benefit, but he is on call 24/7, so he deserves that benefit. Or not. I'm not just talking about Mark. I'm talking about if Mark decided to walk away tomorrow, somebody else is going to be appointed. I'm talking about the position specifically. So this is not about Mark, this is the position. So when you start adding those things in, the additional benefit like that, then you're getting to another level. That is, 57,000 is too big of a jump for me.
Do you have a suggestion, a recommendation?
Well, I mean, if you look at what Jeff put together, I mean, I think the median was 43,000. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Reading Jeff's email, he suggested 43,556.
the median based upon population size is 41,481, but if you applied our compensation strategy like any other position,
The 105.
the 105
Yes.
would be, the max would be 43.5.
And then on top of that, you're looking at CPI every year, which means the salary grows even faster at that point. So this is one of the things where I do agree that it should pay more, but there are other benefits that go along that are beneficial for the individual that holds that office from that aspect.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mark?
And those numbers that Jeff has pulled, you know, I had training last week at the Corners Conference, and several corners that I spoke with had talked about more likely they're going to be getting pay adjustments because of this whole bill process. So those numbers.
But the bill's never made it
Right, out.
anywhere. The legislature has no stomach to take this bill up.
But I think what you're talking about is just from the conversations.
Yes.
There has been discussions on local levels to adjust compensation.
Yeah, to adjust their pay. And I know two of them in particular that were
But
granted adjustments.
We can only use the data, and
Right.
that's what Jeff did, use the data that's available at the time.
Right.
And I wouldn't doubt if we came back. Here's the reality, though. Like, if we don't, like, we have to make a decision today, and that will stay the same way for the next 4 years because that's the way it is in the Constitution. And it still gets CPI. But if we're making any adjustment above that, it has to stay that way for 4 years.
And we all know, once you go up, you never go back.
The cost of services will never be less than it is today. Isn't that right, Mr. George? That's why Mr. George is here, and Keith.
And I know I was asked about the number of calls for duty that we had. But one other thing I'd like to add with that is the amount of time that you do spend on each particular case. And on an average, on our cases, we're about 8 hours in average per case that we spend. That's going to the scene, that's transferring the person, meeting with the families, you know, all that discussion, all the time that you put in, and even days after the event.
I go back to fire and EMS and sheriff. I just, they don't get a take-home car to the benefit of $20,000 a year at the end of the day. You're not taxed on the vehicle because you're on call 24/7, so it is a pure benefit. I have a company car. I get taxed on my mileage. It's a huge burden at the end of the day. I'd rather have my own vehicle, but they don't want us to have our own vehicle. They want us to have a company car, but at the end of the day, I end up paying tax out of pocket that doesn't get taken out during the year. So the benefit of that, not only are you getting the vehicle, and a very nice vehicle, you get 24/7 access, and you're not being taxed on it because you're 24/7, just like Sheriff's Department would be or any other administrative.
All right. Mark, what else would you like to share?
I wanted to talk about the hours that you do spend on each case. It goes further than just going out and making that particular call of service. When you get back, you know, there's a lot of things that have to be done.
Yeah.
And the things, obviously the things that you have to see and deal with, and the families too. We actually sometimes will spend less time on the scene when we get back to the office starting to work on the case, and that's when it all kind of
Rob Jones?
So on David's comments about the vehicle, I know like the regular EMTs and stuff don't get to take a vehicle home, but all of our heads of every department take home a vehicle.
They're on call 24/7.
Yeah. So, but Mark, that office and maybe it's just Mark, I don't know if every other corner would, but I think Mark answers just about every call that comes in. Whether he's got a deputy on there or not, he answers just about every call that comes in. He's on that scene with them.
95% of them I'll assist.
So he does quite a bit on that.
But
So I'll
that's a
give him credit
choice,
on
though.
that.
He has others to help him, and that's a choice to respond. Our chiefs and stuff were, you know,
They have a choice, but
you
they
know,
don't
or
usually
the sheriff,
respond.
or Chris, you know, if they're off and they don't have to necessarily respond, but they still do possibly. And so that's a choice when you're not in the
Yeah.
when you are on your home family time. If you make a choice not to respond, that's your choice, and you have that choice because you are the leader of that organization.
No,
Rob, anything else?
No, I just think that the office has been underfunded for years, and it's time to get it up to where it
Okay.
needs to be.
So I'm going to ask the court, any other comment from anyone? Rick Hostetler.
David brought something up that I hadn't thought about, and Rob just said it. I wonder when the last time it was dealt with. I don't ever remember it since I've been on the court.
It was before my time.
Well, it's the last
You-
time that it was adjusted outside of the CPI. That's
what
your
I'm.
question.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember
Yeah,
it since
it was John Goble's last term.
So answer your question.
before we got on court.
Oh.
Well, no, you would have talked about that.
Oh, it's got to be at least over a decade. So, so the issue is there a motion? There's been a recommendation. That's what it is. It's a recommendation.
Which recommendation are you talking about? The Budget Committee or Jeff's recommendation?
Well, there's been a budget committee recommendation of 57.5. That was shared via email. Is there a recommendation? And that's all that is. That's not a motion.
Right.
Is there a motion or a let's call this question and move on.
I make a motion, we take the budget committee's recommendation.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Questions and comments now.
I'm going to explain my vote.
Yes, sir.
46% is setting a bad example to the rest of our employees. 46%.
Well, I'm not going to vote yet, but I'll tell you, the recommendation came from this. And I'll have to respectfully agree to disagree with you. I think that the position has been long underfunded. And, you know, the effort of the Budget Committee was you had a request, which is that's all it is. And then you had data from Jeff that I believe is widespread low funded anyway. So I throw out this concept or conception. I respectfully agree to disagree with you that we're setting a bad precedent for the rest of our this is an outlier position, and it's been low funded for a long time, and that was the Budget Committee's discussions. And Dwayne and Kelly, if y'all want to throw anything in.
I'll make a comment too, and obviously we're talking about position and not people.
Right.
But I kind of felt like on the Budget Committee also, it's a very sensitive job, and we want to pay something that attracts a person that sometimes you get what you pay for. And we don't
We're
want to
not hiring people, though. People are running for office, so you may not get what you want.
Well, that's true.
Because people are running for
but
office.
people will run with a better paycheck. And I'm just saying, more quality.
I don't know. I mean, you look in Eastern Kentucky, some counties pay $55,000, $60,000 for magistrates. And do they always get quality?
I'm not going to speak to that, but I'm just saying. I don't know.
true.
I don't know that answer. But I just
it
think
is true.
that when you make a more attractive salary, you'll have a better pool of candidates.
If you're hiring.
If you're hiring or you're running for an office, if it was a free job, if you didn't get paid, I don't know who would show up to do it. So anyway, that's my comment.
And that was, I will add to that, the sensitivity, that it's been long underpaid. That's why we didn't really put a lot of weight on the percentage of change and setting a bad precedent. It's a constitutional office, and it's, you know, like you said when you started your comments, this has been the Coroners Association, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, they wanted to set where the coroners, David and Mark, Coroners Association wanted it to be the same as the judges' pay, right?
No.
Is that at one time, though?
Maybe in the very beginning,
Oh,
but
yeah.
when they came back and revised their bill,
Yeah,
it was based on population
Based on
and years
population.
of service that you were going.
yeah.
So every
So it's
county-
been a hot topic, and like I'm trying to defend the work of the Budget Committee, trying to find a place in the middle. And yeah, it's a change in salary percentage-wise, but when we were so low, like in my opinion, for a county with 63,000 people, I think that salary was low. And that's the conversation. So it's not going to hurt my feelings any way this goes, because I respect that everybody has their own vote and everybody has their own opinion, and sometimes we agree to disagree. David?
I have one more comment, one more question. My comment is, I got in a lot of heat up here back, I think it was in 2018, because I made a motion to lower the magistrate's salary due to the fact that we were making more than a lot of the employees. And some of you all remember this, because we were making more, this was before you were here, Judge, than some of the county employees, and we had not done a proper wage and benefit analysis. And so my question is, what are you going to do about the deputy coroners now?
In the budget, there is a percentage draft there is a percentage, like we added, I can't remember the exact dollars, but we did add additional dollars to that budget line.
Are they paid hourly or a salary?
It's a salary.
Salary, okay.
And he has three. One gets 2 weeks, and the other two get 1 week apiece on their rotation schedule.
Judge, this is all good and good, and I know that we're trying to, this is not a reflection on Mark at all, it's the position. But let's just throw out a scenario here. Mark, as far as, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you have no business arrangement with any of the funeral homes
No,
currently?
absolutely not.
Okay, but let's just say next week, he opens up Sutton Funeral Home. Okay, this happens in other places. I mean, a lot of the corners do have that.
Yeah.
Do we look at this differently if he is, the coroner is having a funeral business? I'm just putting it out there for us to think about in terms of trying to compare these salaries. It's very difficult to figure out what's this job's worth. But that's how a lot of these other folks can have lower salaries, by having a funeral business. But he could have that potential to do that. As far as I know, Judge, the Constitution doesn't say that's a conflict of interest.
A fine example was, on that topic was, I know a gentleman that was coroner, and he had a funeral home, and he run it like that for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
He decides to leave the coroner position. His son steps up and wants to be coroner. He runs, he wins. And he goes to his court trying to explain to them, I don't even have an office, because it was being run out of the funeral home. So it was all new to them that they needed an office.
So
they needed
back to
vehicle,
you,
whatever.
David. Do you have, like, you wanted to explain your vote, and
Well,
I might have cut you short. I wanted to go back to
Yeah,
you.
I'm not against the pay increase, I'm just against 46% at this point in time.
And I wanted to explain my thought process, and I think the budget committees that we felt like it was a long underfunded, and then on top of it, you cannot change it for 4 years after today. So that was the thought process, and I think it's an outlier, and that's why I don't think it's a fair comparison of setting a precedent for our others. And you might agree to disagree with me, and that's fine, and we'll go on, and we've done it before. Now, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
Judge, I'll make one more comment. Kind of comes from thinking about if you want to start a funeral home. Really and truly, I don't even think that's part of the discussion, and here's why. We have other folks that work for the county, even in leadership. If they want to get a part-time job or do something on the side, they have every right to do it. These folks that are, in our EMS, these folks that are in the medical profession, we have part-timers that are, and I know they're not constitutional offices, but we're trying to, that's why I told you I struggled so much trying to find an apples to apples comparison. And I really haven't found it. So I'm just listening to all this. But so we have folks in EMS that have medical experience, so they can work. They could probably work part-time in an ER. I don't know. I think that happens all over the place. Nothing wrong with that. I guess leadership could do that. Firefighters, 24 on, 48 off, whatever, they can do other things. So really, for me, I have to separate that. We're just talking about the coroner's position. I know there's variables, but I don't see how you figure that. And then to the deputy coroners, it's not part of this discussion either. We'll talk about that.
That's in the draft budget, and
right.
If that,
so we'll talk about that later. But
yeah, with anything in that draft budget,
and one other comment, and I'm done. So, and I think Kara said that we might have actually, I can't remember it, but we might have actually dealt with it in my first term. But that's been 12 years, or almost.
Now, Kara asked this question for clarification. Setting this is July 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
no.
Or is it
Setting it would be January 1.
January 1?
But it would be for the new office coming in, I believe.
You are correct.
There you go.
Yes, it would
Now
be
that you say
January 1.
That would be right. That would take care of it.
Because we couldn't
House Bill
change
10
it
part of
before,
18.
Right.
before the term. So that's right. And I'm glad you asked that question.
And I said I only have one more comment, but I got one more.
You're out, Rick. You're out.
Sorry. Well, and it's really, it kind of doesn't apply, but it kind of does in my thinking.
Are you unopposed?
Like many others, but so even this deadline, I forget just how David said it, but Frankfurt won't deal with this issue, and you had a comment there, and I can't remember it, but this really, the deadline should be before. Somebody was talking about candidates wanting to run. If you look into a position and you go, wow, they don't even make any money, I'm not going to sacrifice bye. This kind of a decision should have been made back before the filing deadline. That's the way it ought to be written up, and then it's legit. But this kind of throws a bad light on coroners all over the state, because whether they got opposition or not, and our coroner's not opposed, but that shines a bad light that's unintentional, I think. But so anyhow, I am done.
So with that said, the motion is second. Do we need a roll call, or we just can? I think we can just do a roll call.
Roll call.
Karen. Why are you looking?
Yes,
Because
you want a roll call.
I thought he was looking at Cam. I'm sorry.
Mr. Livingston?
No.
Pratt, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Ellison?
Yes.
Mr. Corman?
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
And Mr. Wallace?
I'm for an increase, and based on the HR's director's recommendation, so my vote would be no.
And yes, you can call my name and I'll say yes.
I will say this. I am very disappointed that this has come up on the Friday before the deadline. Very disappointed.
I'll
This should
give
have been
Mark credit.
discussed months ago.
I'll give Mark
When-
credit.
when
He's
we
been fighting
asked-
for this for years. Mark has been fighting for an increase on this
This is
in
the
his
first
office
time
for
I've ever
years.
heard about it.
He has been fighting for it for years.
This is
I
the
talked to
first,
Mark a
maybe
lot.
with you, but this is the first time I've
Well,
ever heard
I know
of it. And that is why I
I
asked
can
for a
see,
number of
I can see your
calls.
point.
That's the reason I asked for a number of calls and all that,
Yeah.
because if somebody wants something, I want them to stand in front of me and justify, just like I have to do with my place of employment. I have to justify if I believe I deserve something better than what I'm getting right now. And I'm really disappointed that we had to force this through at this point in time.
Blame me. I'm the judge, and I'll take
No.
it.
There could have been a request to put this on the table last month. There could have been a request. You can't do everything.
Well,
So I'm
you can
not going
blame
to put
me.
the blame on you. I'm just saying that a
can blame me.
magistrate or you, or the budget committee, or Mark could have said, this is what we want, let's put it on there, so we can talk about it before the deadline if there's a lot of questions.
You can blame me, and I'll
No, I'm
take
not
it.
going to blame you.
With that said, and I wish it wasn't today, so I don't necessarily disagree with you that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion, second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Because
The second was Kelly, the first was David. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
it has to be done.
Now, with that said, we are moving on, and I'm going to have a presentation from Shar and Lori about the farmers market and tourism, just a short presentation.
I am here today to thank you. And thank you from the farmers market for the pavilion and for what you have done in regards to pushing for that. We saw a huge change this past year in the market. Our gross sales were over $60,000 more. The amount of people that came through, particularly during August when it is so, July and August when it's so hot, the pavilion provided a really good place for people to come. We're seeing that people are returning more often. We're getting, particularly young couples coming on Saturdays. So it's just been a boon for our farmers.
Great.
And for the vendors, the local vendors. We are expanding a little this year and been able to add a few more vendors and looking forward to having some special events. So this is just, I wish I had come here earlier, but we have totally enjoyed the pavilion and what it has done for the market. Just to tell you how different it is in regards to the heat and stuff, I've had to wear sweatshirts in August because the wind blows through there and keeps us really cool. So it's been wonderful for us. So.
And I appreciate you coming, and it makes me really excited to hear that news. And I come down there. I come quite often by tomatoes and different things, and it just really is part of the fabric of our community, and the location
is wonderful.
That's what you all suggested, that, and you wanted to stay downtown.
Yeah.
And this physical court listened to our people, and that's what we're supposed to do. And I think the success is a testament to us, to the collaboration. Right. And I think the collaboration extends up here to Main Street.
Yes.
You go in Rebecca's on Saturday morning, and there's people in there getting breakfast and then walking down, and it's a destination thing. So it's a great thing, and I appreciate it, and I can't wait till next Saturday.
Right. Next Saturday we open.
And we'll share on social media and continue to do everything we can to support you.
Well, we appreciate it very much. So
questions,
thank you.
Comments?
Judge, do you know when the city will be done with city hall?
Next question. I don't know that answer.
I'm just joking.
I think they're heading close, sometime in June.
Yeah, it's like a little reduced sidewalk when you walk.
Ryan Pratt raised his hand.
I have a question. I don't know if this is for Lori or it's really just more about the pavilion. I actually got this question a couple weeks ago, this might be pavilion or city. I don't know who, but I have a friend that owns an Airbnb downtown, and I have a friend that owns a business downtown, and they keep complaining constantly, like the Airbnb is getting negative reviews because people come at night and there's nowhere to park because there's events up here. Like, why are more events not happening like down there? Like, is it like if somebody wanted to have an event?
We'll turn it over to Lori.
If somebody wanted to have an event, what's that process like? Why does it keep happening up here, and why isn't it happening down there when there's no businesses to affect down here? And what's the process? Like, if somebody's like, hey, I want to have a concert or whatever it is, a car show, XYZ. Like, how does that work?
The quick answer is it has to go to city council.
You got it. That's the quick answer. Yes. Yes.
I would encourage you to go on that Monday night and get on public comments.
I didn't know how it works. I was just asking.
I can tell you, so if anybody wants to use the pavilion, they come to us first.
Okay.
And we just check to see on the calendar if anything is in conflict. If not, we automatically say, yes, please, we want you to use the pavilion. That is the number one place that we would like to host events. But some people just want to be on Main Street.
So it goes,
but
you all, then it has to go to city council?
if they want to go to, either way, if they want to be on Main Street or they want to use the pavilion, once we've said the date's okay, then they still have to go to city
Even
council.
to use the pavilion, they still have to get approval from city council? Okay.
And then, because they're also going to use city services. They're going to use the police department to shut down the roads and public works, and some of their equipment also. So they go there to get the approval for all of it.
Okay. Thank you. I just didn't know that process. That helps.
Lori, thank you for being with us as well.
Do you have the clicker?
I don't have a clicker, but
I'll
Zach
say
can hear
next.
us and we can say next.
Okay, I'll say next. Well, good morning and thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to talk about the Scott County Farmers Market Pavilion. Ever since it opened last spring, I think many of you have seen what an asset has become to our community and how many people are enjoying it, not just for the farmers market, but for other events that are being hosted. So, next slide. So this was opening day. It was a great day. We had all kinds of people there. It was packed. Wouldn't you agree, Sharp? It was. It was very packed. We had good music. We were very appreciative that Shar invited us to be down there for the opening day. So we had our booth there. We talked to locals, but the best part was we also talked to a lot of visitors who wanted to come down to the farmers market and take stuff back to their hotel rooms or to get fresh jams and jellies to take home with them as gifts. So it was a great day. Next slide. There you can see some of the people. And doesn't that produce look delicious? It looks yummy. Can't wait till next weekend. Next. I also will mention, yesterday I was out at Elmwood Stock and I did a tour with Mac. And I just asked him how he felt about the Farmers Market Pavilion. And he also talked about the increase of revenue due to the visibility and also the vibe of how it feels down there, how it feels so much like a community-oriented event and seeing the same people coming back and them telling their friends and then new people coming too. One of the things he mentioned was how many young couples he has seen at the farmers market also. So that was really cool. The next one was Party on the Square. As you can see, we had a great time down there. We hosted 2 events and 2 on Main Street. And Ryan, that was because that's what the downtown businesses requested.
So, rename it Party on the Pavilion.
I do. So when it is on the square, it's Party on the Square, and when it's at the pavilion, it is Party at the Pavilion. So I should have put that on there. But anyway, this year we've got 4 events. So May 23rd is Superfecta, and August 22nd is Honeychild, and they will be on Main Street. And then the pavilion on June 20th and July 18th will be there. On June 20th, we will have Jared Shoemaker from Marshall. He's been on The Voice, and he is a Kentucky boy. So he'll be joining us. And then July 18th, we have Zack Attack. It'll be lots of fun. We've got a great concert series this summer. So, and you can see how people are loving the pavilion. They love the shade because up here they're out in the heat. So, yeah. Next one. The Best of the Bluegrass Festival of the Horse. This year's is September 11th through the 13th. I just threw some pictures of, you can see that we utilized the pavilion with, actually got some of the smaller carnival rides inside there, but we also had an area where people could just sit down and cool off if they wanted to. So it was kind of like a cooling station too. I think you'll recognize one of the guys in the second picture.
Some bald-headed guy.
Yeah. Next. Elizabeth's Village. They had their night market there during the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. She said it worked fabulously. It was a little warm that night, so the pavilion gave a lot of shade to them. Said they had a lot of attendance, that people really enjoyed it and hoped that they were going to be able to use the pavilion again this year for their night market. So we've already told them, tell us the date, we'll get you on the calendar. We want you there too. And next one. Oh, Flannel and Frost. So this was a new one that we had during the holiday season, and it brought about an estimated of 1,000 people down to flannel and frost. So we had live music, a petting zoo, free Christmas trees, local vendors, many from the farmers market, some storytelling from Mrs. Claus, and Santa himself was there too. And he just didn't talk to the nice
kids
people.
like little train and
Yes, we had a train. Yes.
You still want that skating rink somewhere, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
Somewhere.
yeah.
We've been working on that. Thank you, David, for your help with that too. But the train would come up and down.
Yeah.
Thanks for outing me.
Yes.
What does she know about the skating rink?
I know about quality of life issues.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we had the
Not
train
much.
come up and down, back and forth, so they could be dropped up off here to watch many movies for the holiday season, and also they could shop because the businesses stayed open. So then they could come back down and do some entertainment there. But Santa was on site, and he just didn't talk to the nice. He also talked to the naughty. So we're going to see some improvement in some of the children's behavior this year. Next slide. And we are doing it again this year, and we're super excited about that. We do want to grow it. Not only would we like to figure out how to do an ice skating rink, but there's some other things that we want to have. The winning float, which was Scott County Veterinary Clinic, won, and they brought their float down to the Flannel and Frost. So we are going to ask all of our winners next year, because we have 3 every year, to come down and have their floats on site too. We're asking them to keep them together and bringing them down for there, because that was just fun. My mouth's getting dry. Sorry, I'm on allergy medicine. So I also want to just kind of bring up Great Crossing Park also. Next slide. I think we held the first event there that had ever been held that wasn't a sporting event. And this was the all Nashville Roadshow. It was awesome. They told us from A&R that we could expect about 300. That was a sellout to them. We had over 400, so that was pretty amazing.
I see JR and Lisa in there somewhere.
Yeah, they are in there.
I think
We had a
Mr.
good
Livingston was
time.
there too.
And I will tell you, we could not have done it without JR's help, and Tim Tevis's also, and the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Nettles. He made sure that we had police presence. JR made sure that it was spotless and mowed perfectly, and Tim helped us out, keeping the lights on at night, making it easy for people to get over to there. So we're really excited. They're coming back this year. We just ran into a little snag. The time that they were coming was when Bourbon and Beyond was going on with Chris Stapleton. So we told them that, and they rethought whether or not they should do that date or not. So we're looking at a different date. The dates that we've been looking at, Great Crossing Park is not available. I know, it's sad. But we're looking at other park stations and a couple of other venues. But what I'm hoping is next year we'll be more conscious about when Bourbon and Beyond happens, and we'll be back out at Great Crossing Park, because that was the perfect venue with parking, the lighting set up, and just the whole vibe of it. It was really special. We loved
I think
it.
It was almost like a test case of having an amphitheater. Would people show up? How would it work? And especially people show up with new artists that aren't nationally known at all.
Up and coming.
Yes, up and coming. And it was awesome.
You get a chance to say, I saw them win.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't remember exactly where this was set up, but was it set down there where the proposed?
You know where the new
amphitheater-
playground is?
Where the new
It was
playground
to the
is?
right of it.
So where the proposed amphitheater might be
I don't know.
on up a little bit more?
Yeah.
Would you ever consider doing your own type of thing? So like instead of party on the square, party on the pavilion, party at the park type thing? I mean, if it works that well or no?
We might.
See? Well, I'm full of ideas up here today.
We might. We need to talk about that. But we would definitely consider going out there with a concert every year. But I feel like the All National Roadshow will continue to be
You
there.
think they'll keep coming back?
Just a break for this year. Oh, yes. When you think sellouts 300 and you do over 400 tickets, they're going to come back. they're definitely coming back. Did you?
Well, I hope, hopefully work out a date or hopefully they come back. So it's a great venue.
Yes, they loved it, so I feel like that will happen. And it was so easy to do it there because of the help that we got between Tim, Jeremy, and JR. They made it so simple for us, so they look for that also, and the visibility of the location. And Great Racing Park has a lot of visibility. People around the state know it. So, those are the things they're looking for. So,
I've got a suggestion if we can talk afterwards.
Okay. Next one. Stamping ground. So I just wanted to say a little bit about the surrounding communities. A lot of times you all don't hear us talk about some of the things that we do for them. So I just wanted to talk about them for a few minutes. Next slide. So Stamping ground, last year, Georgetown Scott County Tourism paid for all their new flags, flagpoles, and their banners. In addition, they have access to our stage equipment, our sound, our tents, tables, anything that they would like to use that we have. We are happy to send it down there for them to utilize. Depending on the events, they pick and choose different things that they want, but we always make it available to them. This year, tomorrow, they've got their Trot for the Roses, so that's going to be really cool. We've donated some cool prizes for the pie contest. I know Rob's already thinking about the pie he's making. He wouldn't tell me what it was, but he's thinking about it. And they also have the stick horse race, so it'll be a fun day. But I just wanted to make you all aware that we really want to help the smaller communities out there inside the outlier in the county. So next one, Sadie'ville. So we'll just go to the next slide. So the Rosenwald School, we're really excited. They're going to start opening up that for tours once a month. They're also, which they've always been really willing to do it, work with us on opening up when we have motor coach buses and tours too. So we've been helping them with the PR, the campaign, and a travel writer who's writing their press release for opening day, and then we'll be making sure that we're putting that out there, promotional pieces so that people are aware of it. I invite all the community to come down. It is absolutely beautiful, and they have kept it. It's probably one of the few that has been maintained and kept in awesome shape. There are a few around the country, but they don't look like this. So that's a real gem that we have. Next slide. So the historic Geo Trail, Legacy of the Mules. I put a little coin on each one of your places, and that's what you received once you completed the entire Geo Trail. But I just wanted to give you some numbers. There were about 80 to 100 who attended. They came from Virginia, Tennessee, Ohio, West Virginia, Indiana, Kentucky, and the furthest was from Michigan. So all those people were down there for that Legacy of the Mules Geo Trail. If you're not aware, we have 4 of them. We have one that's specific to Stamping Ground, Historic Buffalo Trail, and then the African American Heritage Geo Trail, and then the Geo Trot that goes city and county. But these are all very popular, and people can utilize them all throughout the year. They continuously go. We have different prizes for different trails. If it's the one in Stamping Ground, you get a little buffalo. If it's the one in Sadie'ville, you get the little coin that you all have on your desk. So, next slide. And just to remind everybody, next week is National Travel and Tourism Week, starting next Monday. So each day we're going to be doing some giveaways based on things that you have to do throughout the community, like it might be pop up a picture on our social media, go through our website and find our mascot, which is Little Silvertron, find him inside there. So just some fun things like that, your favorite picture of what you've been doing in Scott County. And then on May 6th, from 2 to 4, we're going to have an open house at our office, and we'll have some local ice cream, local cookies, popcorn, and some different things like that, and some giveaways at the end of the day. But on Friday, everyone who has participated in all of the activities Monday through Friday. They will all go in a big pile, and we will pick a couple of names to win some big prizes that will have gift certificates from local businesses, local farms. So we're really excited about that. So if you have time, come see us on May 6th.
Thank you.
Oh. I have also put the schedule of events up there that's taking place. And you all help us fund Celebrate Georgetown, which is downtown. And just wanted you all to see what we've been doing with your money. This is just a recap of all of 2025. So I'd be happy to come back and talk about that anytime you would like me to. So, but thank you, and we so appreciate your support.
Thank you so much and what you do, and just making Georgetown special.
We'll hope to see you at all the events.
Yeah. Char, thank you, and the farmers market vendors and everybody down there. So thank you all. Any questions or comments?
Lytle's Fork, Judge, I know Lori went over a lot of stuff, but Lytle's Fork, I go by there a lot, and that thing gets used a lot.
Oh, it's
There's people constantly out there walking the trails.
It is.
It's amazing how much that gets used.
And Lori had a
And
help
I know
with
Lori
the
does
bike
some stuff
ride,
out there,
the
too.
bike,
Yep.
mountain bike cup, and then also helps promote it. And you know, y'all might shoot me for suggesting this, but like I've thought, is there any way we could put out a bid and talk about this in the future? You know, would a zip line vendor? I mean, why not? And still have not eliminate anybody from usage, but just add that as an option for something to look at. You brought it up. I opened my mouth. Lori will be wearing me out about that.
Would that be the infamous skull buster? That'd be
we
a
would
great
just put
name
out
for
an
the zip line.
RFP for somebody to contract to do it. So
The zip line.
that's a different.
Talk to the insurance company.
Yeah, that's a different one.
Can I just say
No,
one thing?
Lori, we can't talk about it. Yeah,
I'm
go
not going
ahead.
to talk about the zip line. What I was going to say is, if you ever go down to Lytle's Fork, go into the parking lot and look around. It's not very often that you see Kentucky tags. You see tags from all over the country. So people are utilizing, whether it's for the horseback trails or it is for the mountain biking, or a lot of people who are just going out there and hiking. But you will always see a lot of cars that have out-of-state license plates, and we love that because that's new money in our town.
Absolutely.
Joe Pat, I'd also like to suggest the Back to the Future zip line from the clock tower to the farmers market.
We'll get on that.
I mean, if we're putting out an RFP, let's go big.
All right.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. With that said, Michael, George, and Keith are here from Compass Municipal. And this like this effort, you all supported because I really felt like it was important. We're kind of like at a point where we've wrapped up some big capital projects, and I think we're at a point where we're turning a page and trying to look forward to like what are our goals and priorities here in the next 4 years. And I don't think you can make those type of decisions without having great data and great information to base those decisions on. And that's why I think having Michael and Keith do the analysis, they've looked back over the last 5 years or better at our expenditures and our revenues. And they've worked with Michelle and Jeff and I, and we've had several meetings and several conversations. And now they're going to give you all a summary of some projections and some analysis for your thoughts to look forward and help make decisions. The last thing I want to do, I really salute and really, I think we did a good job when at one of Michael's recommendations of setting that minimum fund balance policy, and we're in compliance with that, and I want to always keep that fund balance and reserve at a healthy number in compliance with that. But I also think it'd probably be wise, and I've talked to Michael and Keith and Michelle about this, how can we build that fund balance just a little bit? We don't want to be a bank, but we also want to be good stewards of tax dollars. I say that all the time. But I think what we're doing right now is so important. So I'll turn it over to Michael.
Thank you, Judge. As the judge alluded to, we've been working a lot with Judge Covington, Michelle, and Jeff on fine-tuning this financial plan that we originally discussed with you all at last month's meeting. And so what you all have in front of you is the results of those efforts. And so I've handed two items out. The larger bound item is the full financial plan that we put together. And so this is extremely granular. This shows where we went through line by line all of your expenses, all of your revenues. We broke it down at a very granular level. And so this includes a historical look back from 2019 through today, and it also includes the 5-year forward-looking pro forma. And so this is very detailed, and it shows kind of everything that we looked at and that went into this whole analysis. The second thing that I handed out and what I'm going to go through today is really just kind of a summary level of this analysis. And so we wanted to kind of provide you all with a more kind of board-friendly or court-friendly packet to go through. And so this 2-page analysis is just a summary of our assumptions, and then the second page is the pro forma, which we'll go through. And so if you all have any questions along the way, let us know. We should be able to answer anything. Keith was the main driver of kind of building this out. He's really our expert on the budget side. And so in terms of the assumptions we made going forward for the pro forma, the idea was to look at historical growth levels on the revenue and expense side, apply it to a 5-year pro forma, and also assume some level of capital projects going forward, with the idea being that we are kind of structuring everything and making sure that you all stay above that 30% fund balance target, so 30% of expenditures. And so in terms of our assumptions for your 5-year model, we assumed a 5% annual increase in property tax revenues. So if you look back historically, you all have grown at about 6.5% a year in terms of property tax collections. We've assumed 5% going forward due to the continued growth we see. We assumed a 4% OLT growth going forward, which is well below the number that you all have been seeing. It's really been closer to 10. On the expense side, insurance and medical expenses are a big piece of your all's budget. They're rapidly increasing. And so we assumed a 10% increase in insurance and in medical expenses through FY 2027, with a 5% increase thereafter. 3% increase in total jail fund expenses going forward. And then really everything else was kind of at a 1 to 3% level, kind of almost like a COLA adjustment going forward in terms of expenses. And then the final thing on the expense side is, as a placeholder, we assumed 1 additional sheriff deputy hired for each year going forward, starting in FY 2027. And so we have that line itemed, and I'll show you all that in the pro forma. And so that was kind of the assumptions on the revenue and expenses side. On the capital side, we didn't get into specific capital projects. We took the approach of, let's just give you all kind of a large number to look at.
And that was the thought process. We've got a few things that we've discussed. Number one, Grade Crossing Park, softball, baseball, youth fields, etc. We've got we've talked about at 2200 doing a renovation of that sleeping quarters, kitchen. That's a consideration that we don't know. The other is just following up wherever it might be, or if it's needed, a future firehouse. These are the type of things that we have got to be thinking about. And then you look at our interlocals. Mike's sitting back there. There's been discussion, and I've talked with the city. There's no plans on paper, but a dispatch 911 center that we would be, through that interlocal, we are a partner in, and that's a capital piece. So
Water park expansion.
you talking about the swimming pool?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's goes along with it.
With the Great Cross Park.
But so I just asked Michael, I said, let's just use a number, and then we can work backwards off that number if that's what you all choose to do. And it's not any commitments, but I'm just trying to paint a picture that you all can see, well, this is what it looks like if you do this. And I do not believe it is wise for us to be cash poor and go below that $20 million threshold right now of our reserve, which is a healthy amount.
Yeah.
I think, and Michael, I want you to tell them what you've told me. That with our position and our financial standing, looking at, very strategic, but bonding is a way to complete these capital projects, but doing them in a responsible way as well. And I'll let you continue to talk.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, the idea is we want you all to maintain a strong fund balance, and we have the target of 30%, and we think that's a really reasonable target because it's a healthy number. It's in line with the kind of national medians we see for entities of your size. I think that number's closer to 25%. So it's kind of in line with the national medians. You all also have a little bit of a kind of a revenue concentration risk just in terms of the occupational license tax being the big driver, and it primarily comes from one large source. And so while that's a great asset for the community, you all do have some concentration in terms of where that revenue comes from. And so it's always good to have a buffer in that situation. And so everything we've done is kind of baked around the idea that we want to maintain that 30% fund balance, and we're not showing any drastic revenue increases. We're not showing really any drastic tax increases. And so any changes to the capital project side will impact all of this, and we can kind of change that as you all need to. And so to the judge's point, we started with a number of $15 million of capital projects over the next 5 years. And so these capital projects would be new projects that are in addition to kind of normal capital and maintenance expenses, vehicles, repairs. All of that is baked into kind of the normal budgeting process. The $15 million would be new capital projects on top of that. And so if you all turn to the second page of the stapled copy, this is a general fund summary for the next 5 years. And so if you look on page 2, the first kind of tranche, the first category is we're breaking down your revenue projections from FY 2026 through 31. We've got expenditures below that, and then we've got transfers in and out towards the bottom of the page. And then at the very bottom, before I get into the details, you'll notice we've boxed off your projected fund balance, and the fund balance is a percentage of expenditures. And so when we talk about this 30% fund balance target, we're showing that balance and that calculation here at the bottom. And so I want to quickly start on the revenue side. And so again, everything really on the tax side is in line with what we've seen historical. We added 2 rows and highlighted them in orange. The first one is additional occupational license tax construction and additional occupational license tax full-time employment. And so we know that you all have a lot of large economic development projects that are coming to the county in the next few years. The construction of those projects is actually going to bring in a massive amount of occupational license tax revenue based on the scope of those projects. And so we wanted to show those into the budget, and we wanted to separate out the construction because that's really a 2 to 3 year period. And then we wanted to separate out the actual full-time employment revenue coming in after that.
And in our discussions, like, we wanted to acknowledge that that is, potential revenue, but we did not want to put it in that same line because it's a variable. It's a variable. But, you can treat it as, this is this variable that we can use as a tool to either help pay for projects or, it's just that tool that will be available, I think. You want to talk anything else about that?
No, and you'll see, it's a great point, and you'll see when we go through the capital piece here in a second is we're not baking these numbers into your budget as they're going to be here for certainty going forward. What you'll see is this OLT number coming in at the top is coming out at the bottom in terms of cash-funded capital expenses. And so the idea is if this materializes and if those dollars come in, then those dollars are now available to cash fund capital projects. And so if you look under the expenditure section in the middle of the page, you'll see a line item for new pay-go projects, new pay-as-you-go projects. And you'll see those two amounts in 29 and 30 match the revenue amounts coming in 28, 29, and 30. And so the idea is 1 year after you see those monies come in, we're then showing that money coming out in as far as capital expenses go. And so on the if-come basis in terms of revenue comes in, then you have it available to pay-go cash expenses. The other thing I want to point out on the expenditure line is we've got this new employee number, and I just want to, this goes back to the idea that we want to build in that sheriff deputy position, one new sheriff deputy position going forward. And so this, we want to line item that and show you what that impact would be on the expense line as a separate expenditure. And so that's factored into the model as well. And then finally, under the other financing sources, about 2/3 of the way down on the page, the bottom of that, you'll see another section highlighted in orange. And this is transfer to the capital improvement fund's new debt service. And so when we mention that the mix of the capital projects we've assumed is $10 million debt, $5 million capital projects, it's $5 million coming from the OLT collection, $10 million from debt. And the way that we have structured the debt is we've structured it around your existing bond payments so that it mitigates the impact of the debt service right away. And so as some of your other debt falls off, this debt service would come in, and so it's not a huge cash outlay for the county up front. And so we've wrapped that debt service around. And so if you look at the bottom of the page under fund balance and the fund balance target, you can see right now you're right at that 30% level. And if we look across the next 5 or 6 years, it stays just above that level with it plateauing in 2031 at 37%. And so it grows a little bit. It gets to about just under 24 million in 2031. And the idea is being in 2031, you're probably going to have a new 5-year capital model that you want to look at and new capital expenditures. And so some of that money will likely be applied to the capital expenditures beyond 2031.
Ryan Pratt.
I got a question. I have 2 questions. I'm going to start with the first one, though.
It's always good.
Yeah, start with the second. It's in my head. It's in my head. Way back there. I'm talking about the way there in my head. Okay. So on the email you sent us, right, you talked about the debt service, $5 million cash, $10 million debt. You said for every $1 million you borrow, additional or on the $10 million would be around $80,000, right? So for the $10 million, that'd be $800,000 a year. But on your report on that new debt service line, you only show $520 a year. So like that's Like, how come it's not 800?
Because it's a great question, and I was kind of hoping somebody would ask this.
Oh, I'm here for you.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So,
Feels like a setup.
what? It's not a setup.
No,
It's a.
just, I mean,
it's a great question.
I read this type of stuff
Yeah.
all the time, so it just doesn't count. You know, it just doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So I was alluding earlier to how we're wrapping the debt service around the new debt service around your old debt service. And so the idea is if you need to borrow money for these capital projects, we have the ability when we structure bond payments, they don't necessarily have to be level like you would see a home mortgage. We have the ability of increasing them some years and lowering them some years around your existing debt service, around your revenue constraints. And so what we've done with the $10 million is we've kept the payments low for the first 4 or 5 years, and then once your other bonds pay off, that's when we spike it up or increase it a little bit so that the total debt service you all pay at the county level is roughly the same. And so that's what we've done for the $10 million. The incremental analysis we provided that said $80,000 for every million, that just kind of generically assumes 20 years of level payments. And so a good way to look at it is if you borrow the $10 million, this is what it would look like, but for every million on top of it, you can add 80,000.
I'm with you. Oh, okay. I had a second question, Kelly.
I'm going to stay on the debt service question.
Go for it.
So under the expenditures, under debt service, 2029 shows 0. So are we not still going to be paying debt on the $10 million that we owe, or do we plan on having that paid off?
So that debt service that you're paying is embedded into, is it the
Different fund. This is the general fund only, so it's being picked up in the transfers at the bottom. So it's not being paid directly out of the general fund.
So that transferred to CI fund, which is just above that orange.
Yeah, okay, I see.
That incorporates the debt service payment that you make that goes into the capital improvement fund and then goes to bondholders.
So what is the debt service at the top then? I'm confused.
The debt service at the top would just be any debt service that you pay directly out of the general fund as a line item. And in part, this is more of a coding. You know, this lines up with the DLG codes and how Michelle codes everything and how it shows on your audit.
Right.
And so if you all were to directly line item a debt service payment out of the general fund, it would show up there. But the way that it works now, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, is you all make the debt service payment out of the capital improvement fund. And so it's instead of showing up as debt service, it shows up as a transfer to the capital improvement fund. And then the capital improvement fund shows the line item for debt service.
Sounds like good government financing.
It's unfortunate
that is a little
result
confusing.
of how the coding and transfers work.
We ran pro formas on all your funds, and we're just sticking to the key points here, but that is a confusing thing.
Well, just look, yeah, because that's the only debt that we have, right?
We only have one, and principal's about $8 million as we speak.
So, Judge, thinking forward and looking at this 5-year plan and thinking about some of the capital projects that we have, that we've talked about, and Michael, you can help us out too. Is there a way, because I feel more comfortable with paying, instead of borrowing money, paying off these capital projects up front, and you can do some like the Lyle Road Soccer Complex. We paid for it all. We didn't borrow debt service on it. Is there a way that we can accomplish what we want, keep our cash fund balance at 20 million or somewhere around there, and then get our projects completed without debt service?
Well, at the end of the day, whatever you don't bond out, you're going to have to pay cash for. And so whatever that amount is essentially going to come off the bottom line here. And so if you all have specific projects you want to look at with the dollar amount, or you're adverse to, and again, the $10 million number was just a starting point that we threw out there.
We just had to throw, we wanted to put a number there as a starting point.
And so if you said, we don't want to do $15 million of capital projects, we want to do $7 million of capital projects, and is there a way to do that without borrowing money, then we can just update this model and show you where your fund balance would be under that scenario. And so we've kind of built this out so whatever scenarios you all want us to look at, we can quickly update those and get them back. But theoretically, anything that you don't borrow, it's just going to be a direct dollar amount that comes off the bottom line.
And I talked to Michael a little bit earlier before the meeting, and my concern is when we bond these things out, we're tied into a bond for so many years. And so my thinking would be we're better off building up our cash fund balance and then paying stuff off.
Trying to do it over 3 budgets.
Yeah, something along those lines versus borrowing bonds that we're going to be hung up with for multiple years.
It just depends on the timing of how long you want to
But,
wait.
I agree.
But I'll say this, and I don't disagree with you. The only thing I didn't want to do is, we have projects that we need, that we look at as priorities and discussions. I do not want to put us in a cash poor position.
I agree.
And that, so it's wants and needs, and what's truly a need, and what's a want, and then we decide, and then we can come back to Michael and say, hey, this is what we've decided to do. But the other flip side of it, if you wait 3 years to build a ball field,
Hey, it's going to be more.
it's going to be more. It's never going to be less than it is today. And the same thing goes with a firehouse. The same thing goes with buying a fire truck. The same thing goes, all those things.
Just a
so I
balance.
respect everything you're saying, and it's the same thing I worry about at night. But that's why I wanted to have them give you this look. And here are some good predictions and estimates based off of good data, so we can make decisions that are based on good data.
Question number 2 about good data.
Yeah.
I'd like to go there. So when I look at this, and you talk about the 30%, right? So you showing like 2026, 2027, our fund balance going from 22 million to 18, and 18.1 to 18.6, so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And about 30.6% of our expenditures where we want to be, give or take, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you said earlier that your assumptions was 1 new sheriff's deputy and some things like that. So my question is, we know, or at least we think coming up very soon, we're going to need a new firehouse. That'll be 12 new employees plus a sheriff's deputy. You're also making a decent assumption that we're going to get 2.5 million off this construction OLT, right? Like, what does this look like if we add 12 new employees?
Well, that's why we put that line there to show you. We know that we're going to have to add sheriff's deputies. So we wanted to show
It might
you.
not be one every year, though. I mean,
But
it's something.
But on average.
Yeah.
So we wanted to stick a line there. If you add 12 firefighters, this is what it's going to cost you.
Is that in here?
Pardon?
Is that in here?
No,
Oh.
no.
Decided we're going to build it.
That's not been decided.
Okay, so then, like, I think that's the bigger, like, based off your assumptions, kind of what Chad was going to, right? If we do the 10 million debt, 5 million cash, 10 million debt, if we add anything over that, it appears in 2026, 2027 at least, we're going to go well under that 30%, because we're only at a 30.64% with just 1 sheriff's deputy, right? So if we add anything above that, like your projections, and even I would say 2027 shows a 33.4%. Like that, I think we're going to get super close. We're definitely going to blow through the 30% if we add at least 1 more employee than just a sheriff's
I
deputy.
don't think we'll blow through the whole 30%, no.
No, but we'll go well below. I mean, we'll go 29,
But
28, 27%.
that's the whole purpose of this practice. Like, if we want to add in 2029, we want to add 12. So we'll add it. We'll predict it out, and we'll show us. Here's what it looks like. What comment would y'all make?
I would just say on the personnel report, we built the model that we can just type in how many employees per year that you're projecting based upon the whole thing and roll it in. And of course, you're right, it's going to add to the expenditure side. So you're basically coming from a very strong financial position, right? And the model is essentially saying that your growth on the revenue side and your growth on the expenditure sides are kind of breaking even, right? And so the stress test is based on the capital needs and time to layer those in, right? And then maybe you experience more growth, which helps with that. That's the juggling act here from a budgetary perspective and maintaining that.
And the real juggling act is to what Chad says. How much cash and the timing, do we want to use out of our general fund, so to speak, and then what's the other piece of it, the balance of the needed project, do we bond if we want?
Unless you're gonna be able to one-time cash fund projects, you're gonna be waiting a long
Did
time.
you all, so based off what Chad's suggestion in your project, and I know you all probably don't have this today, but what would you project we would have for cash each year over the 3 years, right? If we didn't debt service at all, like, what do you think?
If we
that
didn't
would look
bond
like?
anything.
If we didn't
And it
bond
all
anything.
depends on what we decide to, it all depends on what we decide our priorities on capital projects.
So I'll just, and
Well,
I'll just
I mean,
say this, like,
regardless of the amount that the capital project is, what would you say we would have to spend per year?
well, I would say if you look at this now and you strip out this debt service amount, the transfer to the capital improvement fund, new debt service, this orange amount, it's 520. And so if you add that to the bottom line and you look at what you are increasing each year versus where you're at now, that's really the number. And so what we're basically saying is, and let's remove the OLT construction out, right?
Well, doesn't this also have 5,000 in cash going out? 5 million in cash going out, I'm sorry.
Yes, it does currently.
Over the span.
But to the point Keith was making earlier is right now you all are obviously very strong. You're structurally balanced, but you're kind of maintaining at that current level. And so if you think about it from a big picture perspective, if you're maintaining at a current level, any large capital project that you cash fund is going to come off of that. And so that's why from a kind of an efficiency standpoint with respect to your budget, the bonding piece mitigates that drawdown of the fund balance. But, and to the judge's point too, I want to point this out. I mean, this is the baseline model for you all with no feedback from you all other than our discussions with Judge Covington. Every scenario that you want to send, every comment that you give us, we've built this thing out to where we can turn it around and give you that answer within an hour.
Like, and that was the goal, like to set the
it.
baseline, and then
hold it to Keith,
and then be able to get feedback and direction. And once we decide what we want to do, then we ask Michael and Keith, well, put these variables into the model, and then here's exactly the path and the plan that we're going to take.
So
And-
should we,
Here we go.
should we go back again and have capital projects, like a small committee to meet and say, okay, let's,
Oh, I think that's,
so that we're just not like,
yeah.
and
like-
bring a
No, I think it's a,
recommendation?
I think it, that's the model that we used before. I think that would be a wise exercise, but we know,
We've already kind of committed to the field.
we know that there's a real, need and there's been long-term discussion about those fields. So that's one, but then you've got dispatch, you've got firehouse, you have economic development things. I mean, so yes, David, I think, but, I really, when I started this meeting, we talked about turning the page. I think we are at a point where we are turning a page and trying to look forward, and that would be a great exercise. Now, what other questions do you all have for Michael? And Michael and Keith will be back. I mean, that's not like, this is just like the start. And
Does this include currently in the new budget? We haven't passed it, but we've requests for 3 new EMTs, 2 bailiffs, and an HR. Is that already in here or no? I mean, that's not even like down the road. That's this current year. I mean, I know it hasn't, but
No.
is that here or no? So like,
It's
this
not.
assumes today's staffing with 1 new sheriff's office every year. That's it.
Exactly. And
Okay.
then once you all pass the budget, we'll update this.
Okay, that was my question.
and that's a great question.
Yeah.
Does that too, when you say 1 new each year, or when you have in here for, like, are you assuming vehicles are added throughout? Okay.
This is your current vehicle trending just personnel expenditure, it's not additional.
Added staff.
Health insurance is basically all in cost of
Okay.
Did you
so
say
you gotta factor in
COLA, all that stuff?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
I think it's 3% is what we got.
I want to commend you, first of all. I think this is healthy. This is healthy for us to kind of have a look ahead of where we're going, a forecast. However, we do know it changes. One thing I'm sitting here thinking about, we're getting ready to probably get a new justice building by the end of this year. And then we're
Hope
going to
you
have
move
to,
in there in December.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about the old justice
No,
building.
and that
We're gonna
would
have
be
to
a
take that
capital
in.
consideration of
Yeah.
of going in there on the second and third floor and
And looking at all
redoing it.
that
And
stuff.
the jail would like to have the first floor for administration.
It's just all expenses that we've got to take.
all those things.
But-
So back to David's thing of,
Yeah.
do we need to have a committee to talk about making a capital projects, picture
Yeah.
and plan? So, any other questions?
But just on that comment, like if you look at capital projects, I also think we ought to take a strong look at if in the next 5 or 6 years, potential employees and put that all in this mix. Or if we borrow this much money and we've got 8 new firemen and, more staff at the new justice, whatever it is. And like a worst case scenario.
Yeah, and that's,
Right.
and Kelly, that was the conversation
Sure.
of adding that new employee line, like shows us how that impacts expenditures.
Right.
I agree with Kelly. That's what I was going to say. I'd like to see it with projected new employees. Then I'd also like to see what Chad said, right? I'd like to see it with debt and without debt, and what our potential cash, reserve could be every year, if what we could make in cash.
So Ryan, and then anybody else, what I need you all to do is send me an email and say, here are what we'd like Michael and Keith to give us.
Okay.
And
Are you able to make a Google document or something like that so that we can add, so we see everybody's questions? Because, one question he might ask
Chip.
may spur something for.
Chip, can you help me? Can you help me?
Bob.
Chip, can you help me with that?
I just do reply.
All right. So we'll send it out.
Okay. That way we can update it. Everybody
and
sees
that's-
what the questions are.
That is great, and that's a great suggestion. I appreciate that. Anything else? And then we'll put Keith and Michael on that Google Doc as well.
We can make a OneNote.
All right, 2 hours.
We can make a OneNote. Everybody, we can make
All
a
right.
OneNote.
If there's no other, then we'll transition from this, and we thank you, Michael. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it much.
I do
No,
want to
and-
say thank you. This was extremely helpful. I agree with what Chad said.
No, and thank you all. I mean, I think Chad made this comment. We wish 120 counties would take this approach. There may be 4 to 6 in the state that, and maybe not that many, that are going through this process, and it's very healthy, and I think it really helps you all, or we hope it helps you all make decisions. So.
No, thank you all. Much
Thank you.
appreciated. Next slide. And Michelle and
That's right.
so
Are you leaving?
real quick, we'll transition to FY27 budget workshop. That's, really Keith and Michael's presentation was part of this because it sets the stage for making decisions. And I want to thank Michelle, Jeff, all the department heads, Kelly and Dwayne and everybody else that's helped to this point to just get this draft to this point, and that's what it is, a draft. So next slide. We shared the worksheet on the 27th. We are here today talking about the draft, and then on the 8th, we'll have another large chunk of our meeting on the 8th committed to discussion and review of the budget. If we need another meeting between the 8th and the 22nd, we can certainly add that. But right now, the target is to have that first reading on the 22nd, the second reading on the 12th, and then submit the final second reading and the final budget on the 12th to DLG electronically. Now, Michelle, correct me if I'm right. After we do our first reading, we'll send that draft to DLG for review.
Is he right?
after we do our first reading,
You heard me too.
we will send our first reading to DLG for review.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all don't know how much work. This is a lot of work. Go in here. So, big thing that we're talking about is, the option to consider is COLA and COLA adjustment, continued tier adjustments, and then maintain. This budget maintains existing programs. We're not cutting any programs and services at current levels. We exist to provide services. That's why we exist. And then, this whole discussion is making preparation for future capital projects and kind of turning the page. This budget is structurally balanced, as Michael mentioned, currently recurring expenses paid with current recurring income. So that is all, very targeted. And next slide, looking back, COLA 3% for all employees plus tier step adjustments in July of 25. We did a big comprehensive study of external market for all positions and made adjustments to 11 positions that were below the market median in July of 25. We established that sick leave buyback program. We added 8 positions during the fiscal year: a fire marshal, deputy sheriff, and then 4 SROs, and then 3 MTs, 1125. And then the capital projects, we kind of completed the sheriff's office, clerk's annex, the EMS station, the farmer's market pavilion, etc. Next slide. So from our discussions to this point and looking at recommendations, we're recommending consideration of a 3.75 COLA. And really, this is where how we came up with 3.75. The CPI was 2.7. That's what came to us. With the state retirement benefit that had to be adjusted by 1% for about 80% of our employees. Is that number pretty fair?
That's correct, yes.
We did not want to offer a 2.7 COLA and then they be negatively impacted by that 1% required allocation, which would really mean that they're just getting 1.7%. And so that's where we came up with adding 1% on top of the 2% to get to 3.75. Now, here's the reality. If you do 3.75, it's going to be about a $1.5 million wage and benefit additional cost.
Keep going.
Yeah. I mean, forever.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you have off the top, about how many of our, or what percent of our employees are under hazards? Do you know that?
Well, I don't have it right offhand, but it's in the range of the number that Joe Peck mentioned. It's in that 75% to 80% are in the hazardous duties. Because you're looking at detention, sheriff, EMS, fire. I mean,
We're getting ready to show you how many employees we have. And I think.
Because my next question was going to, because they didn't change retirement on hazardous, right?
Well, it depends upon, there are some people affected in tier 1, tier 2, and so, and some people have a 2% increase in contribution. Okay. So it's not 1% across the board. So some people are going to be hit a little harder, unfortunately.
Do you have that broken out to today's point, like 20 employees are going to be affected this much?
No, I do not have it broken out that way. And to Kara's point, yeah, I can look at it based upon their employment date here, but I don't know if they have prior service someplace else, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, they could have had 5 years, 10 years ago, and you'll not know.
I don't really, so it's not really a good estimate as to exactly what
we were just trying
category
to mitigate the impact. So moving on down. No, I'm sorry. Back. So this budget takes into account longevity increases to eligible employees. It's about 26 employees that will make a jump. That's about $34,800. We're recommending narrowing the difference in pay for 9 staff members. This is in 4 supervision positions between EMS and fire. We're trying to catch EMS up with fire and make it more parallel and more comparable. That's about a $16,637 total. And then pay increases will be effective July 4th. First day of first pay period, new fiscal year, pay increases will be reflected in the July 24th paycheck. Next slide. Current full-time positions. So, segue from what you were talking about. I wanted you all to see this. I thought it's very, we've got 8 in animal care and control, county attorney 14, county clerk 20, detention has 30 full-time staff, elected officials 13, electrical inspection 4, EMA 2, EMS 50, fire 56, judge's office 8, parks 2, road department 32, sheriff's office 61, for a total of 300 full-time equivalents. So, next slide. So this shows you if you went currently at what were payroll expenses are, which is about 34.8. If you went to just 3%, that expense would be about 36 million two. 3.5 jumps to 36.4, and then 3.75 is 36.4 and some change. Just you all need to see those numbers. If you go to the 3.75, it's about a 1.5, as we said, $1 million commitment. Now, questions or comments, or you want me to keep going?
I got a real quick question. Have we ever really looked to see, looking at the percentage of the budget for, this is just payroll. So have we ever looked to see in other counties what percent payroll represents of their total budget?
I have not done that, but it would be a good exercise. It's just getting the data is a challenge.
It says at the bottom, it says percent of budget.
No, I know. What
other counties, like Madison.
Because on counties, it really doesn't matter what size budget you have. What's their percent of payroll at the end of the day? Yeah. But if you add if you put all the benefits and stuff in there, you can add another. We end up being 75% wages and benefits.
I think benefits are in there. Hazardous, life, health.
No, that's just payroll.
That's payroll with
that's benefit.
That's got it all.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just reading the top payroll.
No,
okay.
So Social Security,
something.
Yeah, it's got
employment.
It's got it all, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
Real quick, Jeff.
I was just reading the top.
On workers' comp, that is the part increase that I've seen the most jump in. How can we reduce workers' comp? I mean,
Stop having accidents.
Well, I get that, but
we've got a safety committee.
Yeah.
Well, there's just some things that are out of control. I mean,
is there anything else what I'm saying?
The biggest thing that we can have an impact on is reducing our experience modifier. And unfortunately, because of the deaths we've had, on the job deaths really has had a negative impact on our experience modifier.
Okay.
So,
this jumped like 40%.
Yes, it's gone up significantly.
Took several years for those to come off.
But and these will all
But
go.
they will, like Jeff,
drop off.
help me, if we go like 3 years and have sustained, no
accidents.
no huge accidents or fatalities, then that cycles down.
It will significantly, and the safety committee and several of the members are here. They know that we talk about this every quarter, and we talk about how few claims we've had on a normal basis. But when you have one big claim that spikes,
I got you.
It just takes one.
That's it.
Frequency is worse than severity, but we've had some severe claims. Now, one thing about that too, Chad, is CAECO has issued dividends. I don't even know what our dividend amount is. So what they do is they go back and look at like 3 or 5 years ago, and then based on how the program performed, they issue a dividend back to the members of the program.
And I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was a neighborhood of 150,000 possibly. But here's the thing: when you pay a lot in premiums, you get a bigger dividend check.
Right.
Which is not a good thing, if you ask me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but you could pay a lot of premiums and not get anything back. So I see that happen all the time.
have premiums at 400,000.
Sure, but quit having accidents.
And all of this does not take into the assumption the potential 6 new employees, right? The 3 new EMTs, the 2 bailiffs, and the HR person?
It does.
All those are in here? Okay.
Yes. We wanted to see the recommendation rolled into that.
Okay.
Next page. So 3 EMTs, 2 full-time court security officers. The budget also reflects, we just didn't put it in there, he's going to add some part-time security officers, but Michelle's baked that money into the part-time.
Gotcha.
So with the new school, are we gonna be responsible for that?
When it opens, but it
SRO?
ain't, yeah, but it won't open. I
Is it
better
open
ask
next year?
Betson.
It won't open now until the next.
It won't open until the next year.
Next coming school, next budget.
Eastern is not closing.
No.
No. So that's a good question, but it won't open for another.
I thought it was.
The county's responsibility, not the city.
And then one additional, one HR payroll administrative assistant that Jeff's going to talk about. We're not going to go real deep, but you want to talk about that right now? I think it might as well talk about it right now. You know, we have as we just showed you, we have 300 employees, and Kara and Jeff handle all of that. And I'm going to let Jeff talk a little bit about what this, just a brief description of what the new position would do.
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, we all wear a lot of hats, and we try to be all things to all people, and it just gets to be a pretty significant challenge. There's a lot of transactional work that comes into play here, and one of the key elements is that we don't have a HR or a payroll backup. So being able to have somebody to back up the payroll function in case something were to happen to Kara, I think is essential to our business operations. As you indicated, we have 300 full-time people, but that doesn't include all the part-timers. We cut 416 W-2s last year.
416 W-2s.
And in any given year, with roughly a 15% term, I know without a doubt we're filling 40 to 50 positions every year. And as anybody that works in the field, you know that trying to recruit and retain people has gotten more complicated than it's ever been because the workforce is just more transient. It moves. It doesn't come to one place and stay their entire career. So, like I've told you in the past, the median length of employment is 3 years and 6 months. So people don't stick around as long as you would think. So that creates a lot of additional workload. You know, and just over the last 7 years, we've had many new full-time positions, and we've been tracking it more closely. And just in the last 3 years, we've added 28 new positions, and we're looking at adding 5 more this year, not including this position I'm talking about now. So you're looking at 33 positions in the last 3 years alone. And I would be willing to bet that that number is probably closer to 40 or 45 if you look back to when you became judge executive. So there's been a lot of growth. And then what I also gave you is just some ratios to show you that, we are very leanly staffed. I mean, I'm not talking leanly staffed in the HR function, but just leanly staffed from an administrative function from the fiscal court standpoint. We only have 7 overhead staff for an organization that represents a county of over 60,000 people and the 300 full-time employees. But based upon a SHRM study, the ratio of HR staff to employees is typically 1.7 to 100. And usually that number is even higher ratio when you have a smaller organization. And I believe that the request is very conservative and will still be well below the above a ratio at 0.75 per 100. And right now we're at 0.5 per 100. So anyhow, I think it's just from a staffing standpoint, from what national norms are, I think it makes sense. But what it'll give us is a trained backup capable of processing payroll.
And processing payroll. Like if Kara has a doctor's appointment the week of processing payroll, like Kara comes back in or comes in early, just so everybody understands, like it doesn't happen if it doesn't get done. And go ahead.
Yeah, and just it gets rid of those disruptions you're talking about, and it just helps improve the accuracy. I mean, Kara's, thank goodness, Kara's error ratio is incredibly low for the number of things. I mean, there's usually two errors per 100 anytime you deal with any data at all. So, and she, without a doubt, is better than that. But having somebody else assist with that process creates some checks and balances and makes her life a little bit easier too, and reduces that stress load some. Also just, FMLA administration, retirement system enrollment, all the other documentation that's required to make sure that we have to track down, like making sure people have listed all the social security numbers of all the dependents on forms and things, and all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. It just is a very time-consuming process. Also assisting with mandated training compliance. We're always playing catch-up with getting people into the training programs that they need when they're hired, and then also just having somebody to audit when they're not completing the training in a timely manner is another important part of that. I think something else that we can also do is, when we're hiring these new people, being able to stay in touch with them at 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, being able to have a touch base with them to make sure things are going well and they're getting acclimated to employment here. I think that we have a responsibility for better onboarding people, and so that's part of that process. In addition to assisting our operations, I think without a doubt, Michelle's indicated some ways that perhaps that person could help with some routine tasks that she's doing, as well as in your office, and then also providing backup support work to your office too. So I'll stop.
All right, next slide. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
So, here's the financial look per position. With salary and benefits for EMTs, it's about 94.4. The 2 security officers, even though we get reimbursed about 28.6, it's going to be about $53,100 per position. That's still our responsibility. And then this payroll assistant, we figured $25.50 as just a median starting hourly rate, but with benefits and everything else on top of that, that's going to cost about $74,000. Next page.
I have a quick question about that. And I'm not trying to not talk, have you ever looked at like a payroll solution, like an ADP or something like that, right? Instead of hiring wage and benefits at $74,000.
We already have a payroll system. Is that what you're referring?
Yeah, like an outside payroll system that clocks people in, does the time, cuts the W-2s for you. Looked at something like that instead of, and maybe it's not a good solution. Maybe y'all have had it before. I don't know.
We have all that. We have a time and attendance system. We have a payroll system, and it cuts W-2s.
Are you talking about just totally outsourcing it?
Yeah, like a total outsource system, like an ADP or I know there's another big one here in the state that people use.
Even with ADP, you still have to do the time entry.
You just have to confirm it. JR would confirm his employees' time entries. Joe Pat would do his offices.
Which is that's exactly what's happening right now.
I have not considered that, just because I felt like having our own people that it's just that, with fire, EMS, jail, it is so there's so many moving parts. Michelle.
Our current payroll system, we have talks with our financial system. It's a module within our financial system that we pay for annually. So, we already have it.
I don't.
I just said that one because
I asked the same question, but
I'll back up what
Michelle's saying. We kind of discussed it, but the government systems and how they talk to each other, the software we've got is what works best.
I'll back up what the judge says. It's always good to have it in-house, because I use an outside source, and it is a pain in the butt every week. I just got rid of ADP because they were horrible.
I don't mean ADP. I just meant something like that. I don't know all the different
vendors. But to answer your question,
it's always good to have somebody
in-house, because I felt like it's so critical to our operations, and that we have so many moving pieces, and there's so many, there's just so many little intricacies to every piece.
I've used ADP when I was a controller at a manufacturing company here in Georgetown, and you are kind of at their mercy rather than us being able to do it. If something's missed, we can take care of it then, rather than scheduling something with that type of company. It just makes it a little bit questionable.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. I would just say instead of 74,000, we save money and.
Well, like with an outside source too, if a paycheck is messed up, they don't get their pay till the following week, where we can fix it in-house here. That's what I like.
I mean, without a doubt, we have a system, an electronic system that does the work we need it to do, and Kara can confirm this, that there is chatter on our email listservs, and nobody talks about how their payroll system is the best thing there ever was. It's just you've got to pick a system, and you live with it. And I guess what I'm getting at here is we need a system with transactional tasks that are not payroll related. I mean, this is beyond. This is
onboarding. This is keeping up with so much. It's not just a payroll.
A payroll system is not going to fix the problems that we're dealing with.
Rick.
So this also keeps us from making a phone call and getting a computer. We get a person.
Oh, yeah.
And cause
you're not calling the HR office. You're calling Jeff, or you're calling Kara, or whoever the.
Right.
I mean.
So moving on, the total of I'm trying to show you big pictures. That's $477,140. If you all want to approve that, that's the totality of that. Next page. Now this showing you just like you all realize, like 8 years ago when I started as judge, the financial system that we used DOS.
Yes.
No, I actually think it was chisel and hammer.
Yes, it used DOS, and what we have done in that time period to improve services and improve transparency and improve just efficiency, I think is a testament to the people that we have working for us. But now look at what we've done since 7/1/23 to now, and I'll go back to what I say all the time. We exist to serve our community. Every one of these positions are frontline people serving, and they're essential pieces. And you look over that time period, it's 34 new positions, and I'm not like there is nothing on there that's fluff, in my opinion. There is no fluff. There's nobody that's just punching a card and doing nothing. I mean, these are essential people, and and this 34 is included. Jeff, the 34 is included with the green, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So the green is what you would be considering in this budget. Next page. So Jeff, I'm going to ask you to be brief on these two things. None of this is in the budget because we felt like you all needed to decide if you wanted to add. So last year we added the sick leave buyback program. Yeah. So this is Jeff's effort. Like, we're always trying to make this a place that when you come to work here, you want to stay here, and there's things that we do to try to add to that. So a draft tuition reimbursement program, we would cap it. Did we say we'd cap it at 30,000?
Yes, that's what.
So we would cap it, but minimum of 1 year county employment, coursework directly related to your current role or career progression, and then successful completion of a grade B or higher, and you get 1 3-hour course a year.
Well, it can be a maximum of 2.
Okay.
So
this is just that kind of effort. Next page.
Can I ask a real quick question?
Yes.
Yeah. Does this tie into what Keiko has with the agreements with the university?
if you
I think they have a BCTC.
Okay. Well, I listed the EKU relationship, but if there is a relationship, I would hope that we would ask that they take advantage of that relationship to reduce the cost.
Good question.
I'll talk to Jeff, but the city of Georgetown used to have this program, and we had some issues with it, and I'll share with him my concerns.
And would like to hear those.
Yeah.
And then this next one is just, if anybody has to work on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day, this is an effort to just say, hey, thank you. And they would be compensated 7.5 hours, correct, Jeff?
Well, it'd be equal to however many hours they actually work on that day.
But like most shifts, we're not giving them 24 hours of, it's that, what you just.
Is it in the budget or not?
It's not in the budget,
Okay.
not in the budget. but we estimated it cost you $30,000. If JR's road crew got called off on Christmas Day, they'd qualify for this too. But most of the time you got detention, fire, EMS, sheriff, animal care. But it snows and sleets on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving too, and we'd recognize that. Next page, and Jeff, we haven't sent those two things out to them yet, have we?
We have not.
So we'll send those out.
Well, it's in the slide deck.
Yeah, it's in the slide deck, but it's not, we'll send those out just for your all's consumption. So looking at this big budget picture, in 26, 73,036,708. Our total revenues through March, all funds through March, 71,393,729. This year's budget draft is sitting at 71,654,073. Next slide. Year to year budgeted revenues, year to year. Last year, the three big things that we look at primarily: property tax, OLT, and net profit. 26.8. Our total revenues through March for those three: 26,475, 497. Just trying to show you actuals, and then our budgeted 27.8 for those three. Next slide. Budgeted appropriations year to year, we're actually going down just, slightly. So trying to be conservative, trying to be consistent, but still provide services. And the general fund wouldn't go up that much if we didn't switch out of capital. Like Michelle, we moved some items out of capital into general, the debt service piece, and one other thing. Yes, the regional economic development. We moved out of that, and that's because of DLG. Next slide. Road fund recommendations. You're just looking at salaries year to year, 1.625 to 1.686. JR has shared, the need of a new dump truck, a Chevy Switch and Go. It's a 650 in it, or 6,500. Yes. But it's got that convertible bed on it that you can put it.
Yeah.
And they push snow with it, and do a variety of things. And then Myers snow blades, salt dog spreaders, and 2 zero-turn mowers is in that. We increased our bridge construction by 80,000, and then administrative went up slightly to 2,082,000. Next slide. Jail fund, looking at salaries, went up very slightly from 2.124 to 2.195. Operating expenditures, Darren is buying a van, went up slightly, went down actually to 1.861. Capital projects, we do need to get that fire panel fixed, and we do need to fix that plumbing access panels. And then your administrative piece, 2.1 to 2.4. Health insurance costs went up, estimated by 375 to 6.7 million in FY27. Questions or comments?
How much of that is? I guess I can find it. How much of that is? Never mind. I'll find it in here.
All right. Well, next slide.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
I thought Darren said the fire panel was going to be like 400,000.
No, I thought it was always about 140, but I'll double check it. Michelle, will you make sure we can double?
I thought it said 400,000.
We'll need to double check then.
Yeah.
And we'll make a note to do that. Capital improvement fund, the debt service is in there this year, but we're moving it to general fund because of DLG recommendations. Capital projects, courthouse HVAC, it's ongoing right now. We're really trying to get them to give us an invoice for like the chiller and those bigger direct purchases things that we can pay for that now, and we're trying to get that information. So this is going to change hopefully. Michelle and I met with the Legacy Trail representative from Strand, Chelsea, and they're doing right away right now, but we're estimating that they'll go to bid in like January, February, get started out of this year's budget. So that's why we put $500,000 in this year's budget, and then we'll have to put $500,000 in FY28 and finish it up. But that's a good, it kind of times up. We have no control of it, but by splitting it into two budgets, our match, and it could be less than that. We hope it's less than that, but that's a fair estimate.
Is land acquisition done?
Land acquisition is not done.
Okay.
They're still working on right away. Brooking Park tennis courts, that project is going to be more like $650,000, but we got $250,000 from land and water, so that's why it's only showing $400 out of capital improvement. And then administrative, $500,000 additional for reserve for transfer. So that fund is, you can see, going from 6.8 to 2.9. Next slide. Department proposed budgets, Sheriff's Department. Michelle just put some items that have gone up and down. We've gone down on custodial, gone down on telephone, motor vehicle maintenance down, gasoline's up everywhere, as you all know. So Michelle's made adjustments for that. Law enforcement equipment up about $25,000, and then this budget has 5 Explorers that will replace aging equipment that they have now. That's what this budget has. Next slide. EMS, contract with private agencies. It costs a lot, and that's up $154,000. Medical services up about $10,000. Gasoline, we're estimating just about $15,000 up. Office supplies up approximately $13,900, and this is because of copier contracts that we didn't have before. Anything else you want to make mention, Chris or Michelle?
In those numbers, that's total. And we get reimbursed by the city. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get half of that.
Yeah.
Medical supplies up. EMS training, additional equipment. One of the big things in that is a high fidelity mannequin and 3 laptops. Telephone had to go up because we had to put cradle points in each ambulance. That's a backup pretty much for the data. And Chris, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so those cradle points and Chip is probably better versed in it than I am. It just allows Wi-Fi in every ambulance. So as we're reporting, getting the calls, the CADs in the ambulance, there's a breakdown with that now. It depends on, we have to have a hot spot or something, and we just not had anything that is dependable, and its service is in and out. So with these cradle points now, we'll have a dependable internet in the ambulance itself, because they're on the road the majority of the shift anyway. So, Chip, is that?
Yeah, there's going to be an external antenna on each ambulance, have a stable internet.
Is the $34,200 for the equipment or for the service?
It's for both.
Like, could you not? Wouldn't it just be cheaper to buy like
You're leasing the equipment, but it comes with the service.
Like, wouldn't it be cheaper just to buy like an AT&T or T-Mobile or I don't whatever service?
That's what they've been doing.
The Wi-Fi cards.
It's just not as well.
Yeah, and this allows us to get new equipment every 5 years? Every 5 years? Yeah, so rather than just purchase it and then have to repurchase it in 3 to 5 years, this part of this contract is that they will give us new equipment every 5 years, I think it is.
Chris, don't go anywhere. I'm going to finish this out. Building maintenance and repairs, $25,000 up because we need some new furniture in Station 1 and Station 2, new flooring in Station 2, additional lockers in Station 4, and then out there at Lexus Way, just adding like a little student kiosk for training for students. It's just a little kiosk where they can have break stuff for breaks and such. And Equipment maintenance and repairs up $35,000 because of portable radios and dash cam contract that we didn't have before. Payment to government agencies is up $52,000 because of higher tax rate to state. That janitorial services going down, we got a great deal there, and then other equipment also went down a total of $38,000. I'm going to ask Chris now to talk about. Chris has had a proposal from, and this is not in the budget. Chris has had a proposal from the National Guard to train medics.
Yes.
And I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so 68 Whiskey is the Kentucky National Guard Division of Combat Medics, and there's about 200, number moves up and down, but about 200 individuals, and we're talking about, cashiers and mechanics and teachers and folks that are not involved in the medical field at all, other than a weekend a year and 2 weeks during the summer. So when they go to drill, what they have found is they can't really drill because they're just constantly having to go back to the basics of this is how we do CPR and this is how we stop the bleed and this is first aid stuff, right? And they can't actually do large-scale drills. So a couple of years ago, they approached us about trying to come up with some kind of MOU where they could send their folks to us for 4 weeks out of the year, and we would put them through some pretty rigorous training. So what we have come up with, the plan, the MOU is still with the Guard. We don't have it in hand yet. But what we've come up with on our end is a 4-week class where those folks will be assigned to us, so they'll be getting paid by the Guard. There won't be any money on our part other than to provide an instructor. They come in, they do a week of training, classroom stuff, and then we split them up. It'd be groups of 15 individuals at a time. We split them up into 3 groups of 5, and we start rotating them through ambulance rotation. They'd be assigned to an ambulance and be riding there. Some of them will be doing hospital clinicals. The other ones will be doing some pretty intense scenario-based training. So we do that for 4 weeks. They pay us $75,000 for that per class. We anticipate we could probably do that 3 to 4 times a year. We get through all 200 folks, and they want to start back with the very first group as a refresher. So there's no end to it, right? It cycles through. If we do that for them, the cost, what the monies they pay us would cover the cost of the instructor. So it wouldn't be any additional expense to us. It would help our folks. It would help the Guard. I mean, it would help our folks to get a better relationship with the Guard, I think. I don't know, beneficially on our end, other than just being able to provide more instruction, which is kind of what we're known for around the state.
Chris brought this to me. I said, I can't make that decision. That's a court decision. Wanted you all to hear. We'll send out a 1-pager.
Yes.
And then, but like Chris, the break-even point, you said $75,000 to do that one rotation.
One 4-week rotation.
So, I mean, we'd have to at least be guaranteed 2 or 3 times in an MOU.
Correct.
And then we'd have to hire an additional paramedic. That's all we'd have to hire.
Correct.
But you can't use our current instructors?
No, they're too task saturated, Chad. They're drowning as it is.
Yeah, so I got it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What happens in 3 years? They say, oh, we're done.
Right, so the contingency plan for that is that this person, we kind of already have a person in mind. Of course, we do interviews and be fair about it. They are a current paramedic, so they would transition into this role, and if it ever ends, we would just transition them right back to the buggy.
And they get a pay cut.
No, there's no
additional.
They're going to be paid at the paramedic rate.
Well, what will they do? So you said possibly 4 classes a year, 4 weeks, 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 20 some odd weeks that they're not,
Correct.
or
Right.
almost 30 weeks that they're not doing.
Right. And we would
Almost
be able
40
to
weeks.
utilize them then to step in and help our current training staff. So it's 2 folks now, and we sent that education report out. I don't know if that went to the court.
I sent it on.
Yeah.
So is this a revenue neutral thing? We're not making anything?
We would make money if we did more than 2. If we did 4, we would make 100.
If you did 3, I thought you'd make some money.
You have to do 3.
Yeah.
But you also have wear and tear on equipment. You have supplies. I mean, outside of salaries, it's.
So that's why you all are hearing this. It wasn't my decision. We'll send out a 1-pager, and we'll send out additional information. We'll talk more about it next week.
And if the court's interested, I can certainly have Sergeant Lowe from the National Guard come and explain their side of it and their need. So
Does your high fidelity mannequin have warranty. Do you know, are you also purchasing a warranty with your mannequin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those airways are 15 grand. A new head is 15,000. So.
Any other questions about that? I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you, Chris. Next page. Fire department, medical's up a little bit, 23,000 because we're doing more cardiac stress tests. Gasoline's up 15,000. Machinery and equipment up about 20,000. Replace fire hoses and appliances that were funded in 2026. Training, 4,000 up slightly. Hydrants up about 40,000. We have to pay for hydrants. Uniforms about neutral. The special projects, we're gonna that line is a variable because we need to decide how to handle the renovation at 2200, and then there were some other equipment that they asked for in that line that I think we need to look at a little more closely before next week, and we'll circle back to that line. Vehicle maintenance repairs is down because we've got new equipment. Other equipment down 38,000, and then vehicles. It's down from last year because of the pumpers and the ladder truck we paid for. But what we are putting in this budget is to pay for half of a pumper, which is about $500,000, and then we're going to pay for a new brush truck that's $95,000 that's needed at Sadieville. So we will not make that pumper payment because that pumper is not going to be here until October of 27. We won't make that payment, that half payment, till the very last payment we can next June. We'll keep that money in our bank, but we'll put it in the budget, and that way, for the 27 budget, we only have $500,000 left. We're not paying $1 million out of one budget. But we do need, between now and next Friday, that line on special projects will clarify that. Won't you come up right now, Chief, and talk about your request that I sent out about the recruiting staff, the recruiting training class, and anything you want to add to that. Sent out that email yesterday. Right now they're approved for 4. We have no provisionals. Like, there's no extra provisionals out there on shift. Every provisional is now on a truck. And you anticipate 4, you have 4 people that are eligible to retire right now. They haven't given you but you have 4 eligible to retire. Right. Our turnover is about 15%, which is about 6-7 a year. What do you want to add to that?
So I guess it was after our March 13th meeting, you all, I think it was Magistrate Jones brought up, what about 6? I think Magistrate Pratt brought up, is 17 the good number? So, like I said, I produce these monthly unscheduled overtime reports each month, and I basically gave you all a copy of what we look like with unscheduled overtime from July of this year, or 2025 until current. So just trying to give you all information so you could see how our unscheduled is, what it looks like each month, and each month's kind of got a snapshot of what's going on that month. So, the number that we need in order to run 3 people to a truck, 5 companies each day, is 16. So if we're fully staffed at 17, we just have that one floater that either fills in for vacation leave, sick leave, somebody off on FMLA, workers' comp, or somebody that has to come off the truck for training. It's like we graduated those 11 recruits last year, and then after they got out of recruit class, they had to go through EMT training. So that's twice a week, every week that they were having to come off the truck. So, anytime we do any kind of specialized training where somebody has to come off the truck, more than likely we got to fill it. And there's not a lot of time since I've been here that we've been fully staffed. Right now, knock on wood, we're fully staffed. Yeah. But just knowing that, that 17 number, we only have one floater that potentially can move somewhere else to fill in that open spot. So our, based on our discussions from that last court meeting, we looked at that, and again, we're, requesting to be able to hire 6 instead of 4.
And the other thing you mentioned to me was everything you all do are in teams of 3 in training, and Rebel doing the training, everything they do is in teams of 3. So that's another aspect of it. We don't have to make a decision today. What questions would anybody have for John on this? And then we'll put this on the agenda for next Friday.
The biggest thing, I just want to give you this information and the data so you all could see it and see what, each month looks like for us.
John, real quick, as the years have changed for hazardous duty for firefighters, I'm sure that's going to stretch out the frequency of potential retirements. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Like these 4 that we're talking about are the tier 1 to 20 years.
Yeah. But that's not, how many, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a projection of how many potential retirements we could have over the next 5 years. So we could plan a little bit.
And it's something that we currently started doing when we hired anybody, doing a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
So, we can, kind of manage that as well.
Yeah.
Would it be more, and this would take, you and EMS working together, you and Chris, but would it be better to add the EMT training to their recruit time instead of having this recruit class, putting them on the truck, pulling them off, having this unscheduled overtime, right? Could we do it could we front load it, right? Instead of 2 days a week. I mean, maybe they don't have time, maybe they don't have space, maybe it didn't work for you all, but to add a week or 2 to their recruit class seems to make more sense to me than putting them on a truck and then just randomly pulling them off and carrying all this overtime.
Well, the biggest issue we run into, whether we preload the EMT training up front or at the end, but that 14 weeks is strictly geared to getting them the fire certifications they need, and there's testing that's done during that 14 weeks as well. So they go home and study a book to be able to because if they don't pass these grades, then
not with you, but maybe instead of 14 week, your recruit class is 15. I don't know how long it would take. 16 weeks.
That'd be a Chris question.
Yes, so the way our EMT program's set up now, we run 2 a year. One starts in August and one starts in January. So we would have to do a special, depending on how many they're bringing in and what time of year, if we're in the middle of the class and we don't have the training staff to pull. So we just schedule with fire to put them in our existing class.
So when is your first class again?
August.
So you got a 14-week. I think what Ryan is saying is, could we coordinate to block out in their training process and have them finish EMT before they go get on a truck?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense while we're doing this 14-week fire. I get the fire thing, and then putting them on the truck, and then just pulling them off. Let's get all that done before they're on the truck.
So could we discuss that and report back?
And that would be a Chris question, but say they come out of the 14-week training, as soon as they come out of that, they go into ever how many week training, because we're paying them Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, to be able to, would you all be able to do, a Monday through Friday training? Because basically right now they're doing 2 nights a week for the EMT training, which was it 3 months or so?
16 weeks.
So I don't know if we did them Monday through Friday, how long that would take to get that trainings knocked out.
So there's places that have done that. They call it EMT boot camp. And I can tell you that the end product is pretty poor because you're just drinking out of a fire hose 8 hours a day for 5. There's no time to digest the information.
So that's the flip side of it.
Yes. So I can tell you that up front. I guess the issue would be then how would we coordinate blocking out? And I think those are 5 weeks. They get those done in about 5 weeks. So we would have to have somebody dedicated from 8 to 5 for 5 weeks.
So you'd go from 14 weeks to 19 weeks before they got on a truck.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's fair to talk about and discuss.
And I wonder, would it be net neutral because we're not now pulling people off and incurring overtime for however many? It's taking 5 weeks right now, so we're incurring all this overtime for 5 weeks because we're pulling them off the truck anyways. So I mean, it's just something to look at. I mean, it's just.
I think we have to factor in what Chris is talking about as well, like just the pacing of what you do now allows them to digest it and get a better end product maybe. So we'll talk about it.
We could also look at like there's hybrid, like Kentucky has an approved hybrid EMT course, so right, they could do online coursework and go to Chris just for skills checkoff, so and then sit for their test, right? Might have the same issue of not the high quality, but that's a whole nother option instead of somebody sitting in class for 3 weeks, right? There's a lot of hybrid courses out there.
I can tell you some of the folks we brought in some of our recent recruit classes. We just went through Lexington's EMT class, which is 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, or EMTP, different places. They were unable to pass the National Registry. After they went through Chris's recruit class, they've actually taken their time and learned they had zero issues. So there is definitely
your pass rate pretty solid. What?
Oh yeah, we were. I don't remember that report I sent you, but I want to say we were 80, 90%. Yeah,
like I thought it was like 85 or something like that.
Right.
So it's something to talk about, Brian. I think it's something to look at, and we'll definitely circle back to it.
Do you need your people to be National Registry though? Like, can't they just be Kentucky licensed without National? They can be Kentucky licensed without National Registry.
But I think they have to get National Registry at the get-go, and then they could drop it out.
No, in Kentucky you can just you can go to Kentucky EMT course and be certified in the state of Kentucky without National Registry. You don't need it. I mean, it's good to have. I'm not saying it's not a good course, but that's something extra that we're paying for that they're taking that they don't need.
Well, I totally agree with you. I don't understand it because, like, a lot of times they get to National Registry and then they drop it. They don't.
Exactly. It's so hard. It requires so many CE hours to keep up with.
Yes.
I would even look at not doing National Registry. They only really need it if they want to go work somewhere else. If they want to go work as an EMT in another state.
See, that's what I guess I was confused on because I was thinking they had to do.
No, not Kentucky.
Registry.
So let's examine that as well.
I don't know. I didn't know they were taking that.
Next slide. Next slide.
Before they step down, Justin, please share the good news about the current fire process.
So, in approving the 4 provisional firefighters, we started our recruit hiring process. So we just finished up yesterday, our last day of written exams. We had 3 days of written exams. I think we had 138 people apply for 4 positions currently. That's a record for us.
Is this laterals or is it?
These are recruit firefighters.
There are some people that applied that do have experience, but it was a recruit process. Yeah.
And out of those 138, I think we actually had somewhere in the ballpark of 90. I haven't seen the
82. 82 is the final number that actually came and sit and took the written test.
Does the lateral have to come sit and take the test?
Yeah. Well, unless they apply for the lateral position.
Right.
Yeah. Is it younger demographic? I'm just curious.
Overall, yes.
Yes. Yeah, we had a few.
No. I'm asking because we lowered the age several years ago.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Is that?
It's a mixture. I mean, we had a couple that were probably older than me that applied, but
I can tell you from being here 6-7 years ago, we were doing good to get 40. Or now 138 is applicants.
So
that's why I said younger demographic.
I guess what I want everybody to hear is that we're making some really good progress for you all, and I think these are the impressive numbers, and we should be thankful for it.
Yeah. No, quality staff. Thank you all.
thank you.
So Parks and Rec in 25-26, they didn't have any capital requests. This year, they do have some parks, about 461, 845. There's some paving and a variety of things. Pavilions about 222,000 for a total of 683, 845. We'd have half of that, 341, 923, and then operational expense, 25-26 it was 1.6. This year, our half will be 1.8. That's the request.
Are any of these capital projects at county parks?
Yes, I can share. I'll share the detail with you.
Okay, because we're shifting into a different model than we've done.
Yeah, I'll share that with you. Next page. This CHIPS page, just an update. Replace desktop computer hardware work in progress. We're about 37.5% complete. 100% of the equipment's purchased. The KCGC continues testing along with troubleshooting and support. And then as of last invoice, $244,000 of the total $446 grant has been spent. And then reimbursement of that $244,000 is in progress. Chip, you want to add anything to that?
Not a whole lot other than the in progress. I submitted the form for reimbursement, and then when they came back, they asked for all the serial numbers and photos of all the equipment. So we're trying to see if the vendor that we bought the stuff from has that list already before I have to just start driving around looking at serial numbers on the equipment.
Next slide. So just wrapping things up, additional items, we have $500,000 back in there for the Purchase of Development Rights Program. I'll be checking back with the rural land management folks about the progress of the two applications that are in process. It's got $75,000, I think, in the budget for Lytle's Fork Recreation Area. JR, Hinkle's going to pave Stockdale this spring.
Yes, that's going to apply.
Yeah, so that's out of this year's budget. Social services nonprofits request, that's on the worksheet we sent you. I would invite you all to come by this week and look at the requests just to spend some time. And then next Friday, let's finalize that list. We have all the requests. I'd love for you to come by and look at those requests. Local and regional economic development support is in this budget. I think we have $500,000 local and then $700,000 regional to support the regional effort, both the North Madison site and the Berea site, with KPDI match money and monies that are required to operate the Central Kentucky Regional Business Park Authority. Now, I want to say one thing real quick. Not any revenue predictions were included in Michael George's work. But let's say in our regional partnerships that we have 1,500 jobs added in the next 5 years. We're going to get 33% of that money. But I didn't put it in. I didn't ask Michael to include that because it's just so much variable right now. But by getting $10 million this year and $10 million next year to buy 725 acres for a park in northern Madison that we get 33% of, that helps us move down the road, and that's big. And then Legacy Trail Project Match, as I've mentioned earlier, is in this. Brooking Park tennis courts, pickleball court resurfacing is in here. The Sadieville Northern Scott County Sewer Study grant match is still in here. That's still in here. Next page, and that's the questions. If there are no questions, I will turn you loose. I appreciate all of you.
Good work. I was getting ready.